Jamie from Inky and Scrappy, sharing with you today my Craft Roulette challenge number 207. Make an A2 card. Ice cream is my boyfriend. I am using Colorado Crafts Company's Big and Bold, that ice cream cone. I will list my stamp sets that I used today down in the description box below. I do pull in a couple of others because, you know, ice cream is my boyfriend. It's actually a long story. I'll get there, you know, eventually. When I get to that point in the card, I'll tell you about it. So I'm using my Tim Holtz Distress watercolor pencils today because I have them. I'm not very good at using them, but watercoloring is always faster for me than alcohol marker coloring, and those big and bold images from Colorado Craft Company just kind of scream watercolor to me. It's so, you know, they're just so big, and it's so fun to watercolor them, in my opinion. I've done them both ways, but I really enjoy watercoloring them. I did stamp my image with VersaFine. It's a new to me one, so bear with me. Vintage Sepia, maybe? It's the brown one. I'll also list that below. For the watercolor pencils, I used... I know I have the list somewhere. I'll list them below. I pulled them from... I have 4 sets, so I pulled them from there. I did crack pistachio for my ice cream. I wanted a mint chocolate chip ice cream cone. And of course, the cherry on top was, I want to say, candy apple. I might have brought in some barn red, possibly, to darken it a little bit. I don't know if I got what I wanted overall. I'm pretty sure I used vintage photo for the ice cream cone. Watered that out fairly well. And then I brought in... I want to say the newest one, which is Scorched Timber for my chocolate chips on this one. I decided I wanted glossy chocolate chips, or, you know, them to stand out. So later on I didn't have, what was I looking for? Like Nouveau drops in like a clear brown, or brown glitter is really what I wanted, and I didn't have it. So I improvised later on, and I will include that in the video. It is sped up fairly fast today. I have a voice. We will see how long it lasts. My husband shared his illness with me. Gotta love it. So I also brought in, I think this one is called Valentine Love, maybe, from Brutus Monroe. It's an older stamp set. It was part of their monthly, I used to do their monthly kits for 6 months, I think. And this was one of them. I love this one. I should use it more. It is a full A2 size panel when you stamp this particular stamp out. So I did stamp this in VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I decided to do some silver embossing powder. I'm thinking chrome, because the colors this week were ice cream shop. And granted, the only, true ice cream shop, I think, well, I've been to a couple now, but you could probably do rainbow colors. But I was thinking vintage, like the old 50s style ice cream shop, like the chrome, the black and white tiled floor, and the cherry red glittery seats. That's what I was thinking, at least when I was thinking ice cream shop. That's what comes to mind. And so I had decided to do the silver for the backdrop here. And I really wanted this one just kind of, I needed something for the backdrop, and I couldn't figure out paper-wise what was going to work. And, you know, I like to try to do my Craft Roulette makes quickly and not try to overthink it a whole lot. And so I was like, well, I knew I had this one. And so I pulled it out, and I thought it would be fun to, like, pop the ice cream cone up, like, up and out from that ice cream shop background, I guess. So that's where I went with this one. And then, of course, I die cut it out with an inside-out stitched rectangle from Lawn Fawn. I kind of played around with different sizes, and I decided I liked the small border that it allowed by doing that inside-out stitched rectangle. It wasn't too much, and it wasn't too little, I felt. I don't know. So I brought in a pre-done card base from Hobby Lobby. It just worked perfectly with my mint green chocolate chip ice cream cone here. And this is where I remember ice cream is my boyfriend. Yep. You know, it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. My niece, when she was little, we'd always ask her who her boyfriend was, and she would say pizza or ice cream. And so we still pick on her now that she's like almost in high school about her boyfriend being ice cream. Yeah, I'm not against ice cream being a boyfriend. I mean, it sounds legit in my head. I love ice cream. It might not love me as much as I love it, but I'll still eat it and suffer the consequences later. It is what it is. So I did pop up the ice cream cone. I really, really wanted to do ice cream as my boyfriend. Yeah. And so okay, we're doing it as I originally planned. So I popped up the ice cream cone over the top of that ice cream shop backdrop, and then to figure out my sentiment. So the real reason I didn't do ice cream as my boyfriend was because I didn't have a snarky enough, or I didn't think I had a snarky enough sentiment for it, and I didn't want to dig through my stash of overly snarky things. I don't think I have an ice cream is better than boys sentiment. I might, but you know, I chose not to search. So I did bring in my Versa marker to add. I colored in all of my chocolate drops, or kind of went over them with it haphazardly. It wasn't perfect, and I brought in the chocolate, which was actually, I want to say, walnut stain distress glaze, to give that glossy effect. I really would have preferred, you know, like the Nouveau drops for it, but you know, work with what you have. And then I did bring in some glossy accents here to add in my cherry, so my cherry is nice and glossy on top. And then for my sentiment, I'm bringing in a stamp set from MFT for this, you know, you're cooler than ice cream is the sentiment I decided to go with. So I did this one twice. I did it with that walnut stain embossing powder, and then I also did it with that silver or that chrome embossing powder to kind of give me two options. Yeah, well, you'll see. I cut out most of it, but I did leave part of it in. So you'll see what I did and why I ended up going with the brown one over the silver one. But so I'm going to heat set the silver one on top as well. Sometimes I like to do this so it gives me options. I have everything out anyway, so doing it quick, it's quicker to do it this way than to, you know, do the one and then change my mind and then come back and do the other, if that makes sense. And it worked so that I could die cut this one because I really only needed it flagged on one end to do the banner. So I was like, well, I can just cut it in half and use one pass with the die cut machine and kind of save myself a little bit of time here, you know, opposite ends and such. I guess if I'd have thought about it, I probably could have, you know, upside down the one sentiment. I really liked it in silver. I'm not going to lie. I cut it too short and it didn't work for me to do it that way. So hindsight is 20/20. I would have much preferred the silver one, but because I didn't want to have to find more paper and, of course, stamp, emboss, heat set, die cut, again, I just stuck with the brown one, which was fine because it went with the chocolate chips in the ice cream. But I liked the silver one. I felt just like popped a little bit more. But that is my creation for Craft Roulette this week. So an A2 size card that has a tasty treat on it. Or ice cream shop colors, of course, and then that banner is that sentiment on the front. I hope you go visit Craft Roulette and have an amazing rest of your day. Keep getting inky. Bye!